Good evening, good morning, everyone who attended the information seminar tonight. We are going to let you get to know all the teachers who will be teaching the winter camp classes, and then they will introduce themselves. They will introduce the design of their class. We hope you get a better understanding of how our camp will run and how the class will be, and we hope you join us this winter. So first, we will have Dr. Jin Wei introduce about the Business for Youth class. Oh, sorry, before that. So the company was run by three of us, was founded by three of us. And then our mission was to help promote education for K-12 students. And we have focused particularly on various Olympiad contests, including math, physics, chemistry, biology, computer science. And we have been extending to other areas such as debate, business, and also for this winter camp, we're introducing this new class, scientific visualization. So it will be really cool. So for the camp, we'll have our opening ceremony on December 26th, Saturday night. We will have keynote speakers, and then we will have some introduction to let people know the teacher more, and with your counselors as well. And the camp is take 1 week. There are 5 days of lecture. And for the AIME class, it's every evening, and the TA session on the next day. And then for the business class, they are both in the afternoon. And then debate class will take place between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the scientific visualization class is in the afternoon. So all the time listed here are the Eastern Standard Time. So make sure when you register for the class, don't register class in conflict of time. We suggest students to take the class in live instead of just only watching the recordings. And then we'll also have a closing ceremony the Saturday afterward. So, okay, I would like Dr. Meng introduce himself and then introduce his class. So the speakers, you can just say next slide, and then I will flip the slide for you.
All right, I'll do that. Hello, everyone. So this is Jin Wei, and a very brief introduction of myself. Well, I got my bachelor degree from Peking University, PhD from Duke, MBA from Caddy School of Business. And I've been working in various projects as different roles in that perspectives. And most recent services, I actually put most of my spare time, other than my real work, is first is the music education and virtual evaluation platform that was done with the IU Jacobs School of Music professors, and also the most important one is the MBA for Youth program, which you are going to know 2 out of, I think it's 17 classes. You will know something, and I will introduce the total structure for you just for easy understanding. Okay, so next slide, please. So we're going to offer 2 classes during this very short 1-week winter camp. And the first one is called N001. It's called negotiation. And this is one of the core courses. And this class is really focused on negotiation and, well, just telling from the name. And it has quite different from Herman's class in debate, because negotiation debate, we're actually trying to reach different outcomes. And we're going to talk about the basic concepts of negotiation and what is goal. It's not going to be like a winning or losing, but rather you're trying to reach an agreement, especially in the business world. And also some steps, some fundamental steps, how to form your own negotiation strategy. And we also need to prepare how to prepare negotiation and how to execute your strategies. And in particular, we're going to introduce a very important concept in negotiation, which is called BATNA. And this is a kind of a bottom line of your decision-making process. And all these contents will be carried out through a in-class simulation. It's a two-stage simulation. So the students will be either as a buyer or either as a seller. You're going to negotiate in a house buying and selling process in B-Town, basically. This is actually all the information in there. Well, I want to emphasize here, all the information in this in-class simulation are real information, and there's a real outcome, and there's all the data they collected, and the student will provide it based on their roles as buyers and sellers. They are real data. Okay, and so this will give the student a real life experience, and I'm sure all the student will have the chance to purchase or selling or sell a house in their lifetime. So we can prepare them as this very, very interesting simulation. And we're going to do several case studies along the way. And there will be opportunity for one-on-one meeting, group discussion, and also during after their negotiation, we normally do a personal evaluation of individual students. Okay, and so this class is it's independent from the L001, the next one. So you can take either one or take both. It doesn't really matter, as this is one of the core courses. You don't need any prerequisite, but this is really prepare the student with one of the fundamental skills in the business world. Okay, next slide, please. The second class is called L001. It's laws and ethics in business. Okay, and this is also another core course in the M4Y MBA for Youth program. And this class focuses specifically on the elements of legal and ethics perspectives. And in the first classes, we'll introduce some basic concepts of law and ethics, especially actually, I would think everyone should understand this. If you don't understand the law, the difference about federal, state, local, civil, criminal, and just a very basic concepts. And we're introducing those concepts based on a set of cases. Of course, it's real cases. And those are the fundamental cases that shape the whole US legal system. Okay, and we are going to, because this is talking about business law, right? So we're going to focus on several important financial and operational schemes. Well, I kind of hesitate try to use the schemes, but I'll just use this in general, okay? And in particular, the Ponzi scheme, and also the pyramid scheme, and also multi-level marketing, which is related to pyramid scheme. And we're going to talk about the laws, which how to determine if one operation is pyramid scheme or it's a regular multi-level marketing, and where we draw the line between them. And we're going to provide several cases, and especially, well, some of the well-known ones you probably are very familiar, like Amway, like USANA, and probably Mary Kay. So those are the some very big multi-level marketing companies, and some of them even public tradable. And so we're going to provide the legal perspectives, why this is still legal to operate, and what's the restriction, and what is the business model, and why or why not it is something that you should take. And in particular, because we're talking about products, and the product liabilities, warranties, those are a vital part of when you receive a service or a physical merchandise. And in this, we're going to talk about two in-class simulations. One is the McDonald's hot coffee case. So the students will be divided into plaintiff and the defendant, and they will hold their, try to see if they can, in this case, if they can collect some evidence, physical and some evidence to support their claims. And this is will be done in a court simulation type of thing. And also another one is called a yellow type simulation. And this is also a real scenario, what happened in the real world. And we change it a little bit to fit the class length. But this one is actually, it's a 5-stage simulation, and the student will be asked, student will be divided into different roles. As a CEO, CFO, then they are going to be challenged with what kind of steps they can take when facing such a crisis. Okay, and we're going to cover a lot of legal cases along the way, and also we're going to talk about their legal impacts. So this class in particular, L001, is actually aimed to educate the students with very basic legal understanding in the business operations. Okay, and next slide, please. And both classes, N001 and L001, if you look at those different color stripes, right? So if I'm talking about from the far right, and that one is actually the N001, L001, those two classes does not have a prerequisite. So you can take either one, as I just stated. And those ones are really special topics and negotiation, psychology, law, ethics, those sort of things. But the rest of the classes of the MBA for Youth program are divided into 4 tracks. So marketing track, strategy track, operations track, and the finance track. And those classes will be offered along the way and also during the summer camp. For example, this year, AOS and provided the summer camp, the online summer camp, and we offered part of the strategy track, which is B001 and B003. And last year, we actually offered the marketing track, which is B001 to M003. And the coming year, I plan to offer the finance track, which is B001 going to F001. Okay, so this is I just want to give you an overall picture and try to give you this will provide a fundamental and a systematic education in business for the middle school and high school students. Okay, and the next slide, please. And I apologize for this really crowded slide here, and but this slide is really, well, I guess I should receive some kind of education from Wenjing about visualization, but I did this really quickly. So, but each individual color represents the several tracks, and we're going to offer actually 4 time slots for the coming spring semester. And Friday evening, 8 to 10, all time are Eastern Standard Time, okay? And Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, 3 to 5, and Saturday evening, 8 to 10. And in particular, some of the parents ask if I can offer a weekday class. So that will be Monday, Wednesday, so 2 days per week. But each day only 1 hour, only 8 to 9, just 1 hour, because it's weekdays. I don't want to carry on a 2-hour class for the single day. So I kind of spread out into 2 days. And the Friday evening track will cover the strategy, and the Saturday afternoon will cover the marketing, and the Saturday evening will be the finance track. And the Monday, Wednesday, those weekdays classes will be the core courses. For example, the negotiation N001 and the psychology N002 legal L001, and in particular, we added one more for the marketing 001 because M001 talking about presentations, and I would consider that's a very, very important class for in the business world, and we're going to talk about advertisement, and that is a really fun class, let me tell you. And the student have the chance to watch probably over, I didn't count, maybe 100 advertisement and do some analysis over about 12, and give them a sense of well, what advertisement is, what regular marketing is, because, you know, advertisement is just everywhere around us. Okay, so if you have any questions, and please feel free to ask me, because I have to leave in about 10 minutes. I have another class to take. And if you have questions, you can just ask me right now. Okay.
So anyone has any question for the business class?
Yeah, you can type in the chat, or you can just turn on your mic. Okay. Well, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Guo Yi about any questions. Oh, what's the benefit for this class? Well, DCA, you mean? Okay. I would say that's a very big question I want to cover. 7th grade. Well, I'll get back to the first question later on. Okay. So 7th grade, it's okay. Yeah. I actually designed this class. I would say the L001 and N001 would be very suitable for grades 6 to 8 and even higher. And the reason I only mentioned to 8 is because I would consider those classes will give the student some sense about the business, so that they can step into the business world. Okay. And okay. And go back to the DECA. Okay. So okay. DECA and other business competition, for example, the one I'm helping the student to organize right now, the water investment competition, they utilize a lot of content, a lot of knowledge points from those different tracks. Okay, and in DECA, and actually I do have a few seminars regarding all the business competitions. Maybe you can search the WeChat account of the AOS, and they should have the past recordings. And most of those, it's a really big question. I cannot just finish in a few sentences. But if you watch those recordings, those seminars, you probably can find more information. It's a rather complicated scenarios for individual business computations. Okay, and especially for DECA, there's just many areas, and there's a FBLA, there's BPA, and the most important one, well, the most famous one, probably the water investment computation. And well, we have 8 teams this year, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, and regarding the benefit, well, I just feel that everyone, I mean, if you check my educational background, you know, I stepped up from a STEM major, okay? And I'm pretty good at STEM's topics, but I do feel that business learning and business education is actually opens another door for you, for the students, so that you can visualize the world, not just through mathematical or physical or chemistry or other perspective, but rather from a business perspective, especially from people. Okay, and in the first class of B001, the first concept we ever teach to the student is business is about people. And in this whole world, the most important thing, yes, the professional knowledge are important, but the most important thing is actually how to deal with people around you, your colleagues, people who report to you, and people you report to. And those things are not something we can easily learn just through a professional education, but rather I wish to use this MBA for Youth program to give the students some sense about how they should deal with the world around them. Okay, if you choose one, which one do you? What's the age? May I ask, Alicia? Well, if I would say, I don't really have a preference actually. And it really depends on the student interest. If the student has no previous business education at all, I would say if you just want the student to know a little bit about business, and maybe the legal class is more interesting. It does not have a lot of homeworks. You probably need to do maybe 10, 15 minutes research on one of the questions, only one time homework, and some research about a business case about product liability. So that's all. But most of them is very interactive in class. And from my past experience, the students really want to ask questions, and it's interesting topics. So that could encourage students to learn more business. And the negotiation is the one if your children is more or less towards the interaction with other people, and especially the student from the debate team. Sorry, Hermes. I'm not trying to grab all the students from your team, but rather, if you ever attended any debate teams before, I strongly recommend you take this negotiation class because it is different. Okay, and I'm just trying to say this is a chance that for the student to understand the relationship between him or her with other people. And how many kids in one class will they be grouped according to age? Well, I got this question asked a lot, and I really cannot give you a definite answer for that. That's because age is actually not the most essential factor when I group people together. Okay, a lot of times it's actually the personal interest of the kids. Okay, and also I will normally group the kids together in the N001 is actually 2 to 3 people a group, and in the L001 it's actually 7 people a group. And because each person will take one of the roles, like a company, CFO, CEO, CTO, CMO, CSO, those kind of things. Okay, and yeah, something like that. Is a negotiation covered by debate? No. Okay, Aiden, that's it's a wrong interpretation of a negotiation. And that is the very common mistake people always make. Okay, negotiation is not about winning, period.
Yeah, if I can chip in here as the debate
Okay.
person. So debate, you're trying to convince people to believe you. Negotiation, you're often trying to find a solution together. They're very different things.
Yes. Yes.
They're both very important skills, but they're very different. So make sure you think of those in 2 different contexts.
Yeah.
For the time, we will stop asking questions for the business class, and thank you for Dr. Meng he needs to go
Okay.
ahead and go teach his other class.
Okay.
So now we'll go ahead, move to the AIME class. So Dr. Yao, you can go ahead.
Yes. So when I was a middle school student, of course, I spent lots of time on mathematical Olympiad and finally achieved a gold gold medal in the International Mathematical Olympiad back in, that's like 20 some years ago. And during my kind of career kind of in mathematical Olympiad, I attended AIME 5 times. And the first time I attended AIME in grade, actually that should be grade 8, I think I got 9 points. And then from grade 10 to, from grade 9 to 11, first consecutive 3 times, I only got 14 points out of 15 in AIME. And finally, in my last year, I think it's kind of like I just did the AIME problems at home, and it turns out that I got the full mark. And so when I really trace back, like think about what happened during my students' experience. Of course, my major objective is to compete for the all the selection process in China for the International Mathematical Olympiad. But I also did spend some time preparing for the AIME. I think the best way to do AIME as a first step is you need to solve all the real AIME problems. Around my time, there are not that many, but now there's quite a lot. So that is a very important resource that you should use. And please go to next page. And for that part, the resource is there, and all the problems are available on IOPS. So then, what our course will do during this Christmas New Year season? So my plan is I'm going to select some other problems which are non-real AIME problem, but AIME flavored problems. And then in the 2-hour class, that I will give you sometimes to think about the problems, maybe not the full-time duration for you to really solve it, but you have some time, you will have some time to design the problem solving strategies. Then I will show you how I think about each problems, and also if and also the relevant the theorems, the kind of the knowledge points related to the problems discussed. And also in the afternoon or in the evening, there will be the TA that discussing the other 5 problems with you, and also can go over in more details about the example problems I teach in the morning. Actually, in the morning is my time, and in the evening is your time for those in the US. So that is basically the design. So we can discuss 75 problems. It's not a big, it is not a big number, but through this process, we want, what are the things I want to achieve? Please go to the next page. Okay, so now I show you a picture. Can you guess who is this person is? Anyone knows? Can you put it on chat? It seems no one knows. And that is quite famous guy. And yes, and maybe it is not myself, and yes, and some people I think notice that. So I'll put his Chinese name there, and then you can Google it, and then you can see something. And so he was a gold medalist of 2008 International Mathematical Olympiad. I think you can check, and he is one of the very few people that solved the last the problem 6 in that year, which was quite difficult. And now he is a professor in the Peking University, and so this picture shows the interview that some news media had with him on kind of like how he wanted to see with the incoming, fresh undergraduate. And so the reason why I talk about him is on the right hand side, it shows like one of the solutions he gave to a kind of like IMO level problems, right? So yeah, and you could see that there are lots of algebraic calculations involved. If you read that solution, and you can verify each step. But the way we want to think about it related to AIME is, so when you have the AIME problems and when you practice a problem, you can see the solutions, but what you should learn from the solutions if you cannot solve it problem by yourself. I think the key thing is you need to know the strategy behind or the design behind the solution itself. Of course, it is definitely necessary that you can verify all the solutions. All the calculations are correct. But more importantly, in order for you to enhance your ability in solving the AIME problems or other levels of mathematical problems, is you need to understand the strategy, or even you don't fully understand, and you can summarize this as a special trick. And so all these are the key things that can help you improve your own capacity when you see a new problems. So for the AIME particular, I think there are lots of calculations involved. We have 3 hours for 15 problems. So each problem you have 12 minutes, but in my view, it's a calculation. The calculation amount is quite big in some of the difficult problems. And so that's why there are two important things. The first important thing is you definitely can calculate things accurately. The second part, the more important thing is you need to have an algorithm set so that then you can start to calculate. So in my view, of course, if you can find the clever methods and to reduce the calculation volume, that would be good. But sometimes it may not be that easy. And the efficient method is you just build up some your capacity. That's no matter how complicated problems, you have some kind of like a strategy that within your calculation capacity, you should be able to solve it and get the right answer, and then you just go for it. And of course, in the calculation, there will be some tricks that involve which you can help you do things quicker. So these are the things that we are going to try to discuss in class. And so next page, please. And so of course here I show lots of topics, which I mean for this kind of 5 days class, of course there's no way that we can cover all the topics, and the theorems and the knowledge point involved in AIME. I will say roughly you could see that it will be double or triple of the AMC 10 and 12, and but we will try to have as various different problems as possible, and maybe in later semesters we are going to have more AIME classes gradually. And so now if you have any questions, you can ask. I think the thing is anyone qualified for AIME or kind of like in the AMC 10 or 12 computation, kind of like above 90, that would be probably the right level for this class. And of course, the different people, I hope different level of students can get different things from this class. And for students who do not have that strong capacity yet, and I think as long as he have the basic knowledges on the mathematical Olympiad problems, like for number theory, he definitely know what is the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Then he should attend the class in the sense as kind of like watching a movie or whatever to see how these difficult problems are solved. But if students with stronger capacity, then he could be more involved with the class, or maybe students can even propose some clever solutions better than mine. So are there any other questions? So seems not, and I'll pass it back to Professor Guo.
Thank you for Dr. Yao. If you have more questions about the AIME class, you can also type in the chat, and at the end we'll have a Q&A section as well. So now we'll let our counselors for the AIME class introduce themselves. So they will teach the TA session the next day, and they will teach 5 new questions, and then so you can choose one of the session to teach. Leo, are you here?
Hi.
Yeah, you want to say something about yourself, and then yeah.
All right. I'm a junior from the Pingree School, which is in New Jersey. I've been with Art of Sciences for 2 years now as a counselor, and 1 year before that as a student. I'm looking forward to teaching. Yeah.
Great, and both Leo and Alexis has been our TAs for the other AMC class we opened since last year. Alexis, you want to say a few words? Alexis, are you here? I saw her earlier. She has been our camp counselor since 2 years ago, and then she is currently a student at MIT. I guess her TA session will be in the afternoon, and Leo's TA session will be in the morning. Okay, so I would like Himos to talk about himself and the debate class.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I mean, if you want to read this introduction, go ahead, but that's not very interesting. I'm Hemant. I'm right now a student at Harvard, and I'm the debate teacher. So debate's been something I've been super involved in for a long time now. And what I really want to get into more so than me is what this whole course will be about. So can we move on to the next slide? You can also read this one online. So next one after that. So very simple slide, but there's a reason I wanted to make this a very simple introduction to what we're going to do, because I don't want anyone to think about a debate course as being purely for the purposes of like, you know, oh, I'm going to go to a bunch of debate competitions, you know, win a bunch of trophies. I mean, that's great and fun and everything. I like doing that. But the reason I got so into debate, and the reason I think debate is such a skill worth learning, is because learning how to debate well is basically learning how to have conversations well. And we're all going to have a lot of conversations in our lives, like fun ones, emotional ones, important ones in our jobs, whether you're in science, whether you're in math, whether you're in business, whether you're in law, whatever you're doing. Being able to have meaningful, deep conversations where you're able to understand exactly what the other person is saying, to think about it, to analyze it, to dissect their argument, their position, and to come up with your own, to respond to theirs, to build on theirs. That's just a critical skill everywhere. This is what debate has had the biggest positive impact on my life so far, and it's what I want to convey through this 1 week session. That's my priority. It's not, I mean, like, yes, it'll be fun because you get to do some mock debates, you get to build your own cases, all those sorts of things. But that's the ultimate takeaway I want students to get out of this. So 3 major components to this. First, building arguments. That'll be a big part, especially at the beginning. What are the components of a real formal, proper argument? Now, this isn't like, you know, an argument in this context isn't, you know, just like trying to get your parents to buy you a PS5 or whatever. I don't know if those are so popular. Arguments in this context are about a structured way of making your point, giving some evidence, some proof to your point, and telling the world why it's important. So there's a lot of, you need to get good at researching, you need to get good at writing, persuasive writing. All these kind of skills are key there. So many things that are useful in the real world outside of the realm of debate. And of course, you need to get good at speaking, presenting them. So then the second bit of this is not just building arguments, but breaking them apart. So that's both for 2 reasons. It's both for your own sake. No one comes up with the best arguments on their first go. So you need to know how to dissect your own arguments, to think through your own thoughts. It'll help you understand politics better. It'll help you understand science better. It'll help you understand a lot of things outside of debate better. But also for the second reason of dissecting and breaking apart your opponent's arguments or what other people are saying to you in the real world. That's a critical skill. You need to know when to realize somebody's saying something that makes sense and you should try to take that into your own consideration, or something that has a little bit of unease to it. Where can you find a logical flaw? How do you look for those kind of things? That, again, critical skill in debate, but critical skill in life in general. And then the final bit of the pie is convincing others. Like, just like in science, you'll hear all the time, you can do the best scientific research, but if you can't present it to the world, you can't write and speak effectively about it to the world, you're not going to get very far with it. It's the same thing in a lot of fields, and it's of course the same thing in debate, which is why a huge focus of this is on convincing other people of your case. It's not just about finding the perfect evidence. It's not just about finding the perfect little claims and arguments and all that sort of stuff. It's also about how you piece it together, how you make themes out of it, how you tell a story and a narrative that convince and get your audience just on board with you, that they want to be on your side. There's so much to that. It's such a deep topic. We can only scratch the surface with this one session, like this one program. But the hope is that through working through students building their own case plans, like building their own arguments, debating, doing some actual mock debates against each other, we can give feedback, we can give suggestions, and students can start to develop those skills of persuasion that are so essential. So these are the three essential components of debate. And I specifically am framing it this way. I'm not framing it like, oh, you'll learn how to cross-examine, you'll learn how to do rebuttals, all those little like debate-only terminology, because that's there. But this is what the actual takeaways are. These general skills that are useful in just about anything. So if anyone has any questions, comments, whatever, please ask at the Q&A. Otherwise, thanks for coming.
I think there is.
Oh, do you want me to answer the questions now?
Yeah, there's a quick question you can answer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look in the chat.
Do you mainly focus on convincing your opponents or audience, the judge?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. So in debate, in like formal, like actual debate, it's about convincing the audience / the judge. Because your opponents are not gonna move. They're not gonna like yield. They're gonna go for their side. They're gonna try to give the counter arguments to your side. It's gonna be difficult to convince them because their job is to disagree with you. Now, I really like that question because in real life, often you're trying to convince the other person, and just like Dr. Mang was talking about, there's a big role for that in business and in a lot of other things where you need to convince the other people. So like one, obviously take the business class, but still debate helps you a lot with learning to convince other people like that you need to work with on stuff. Like I use those skills all the time, skills I learned in debate, not just to convince some general audience, but outside of debate, it's really useful in convincing other people too. What else do we have? Is sixth grade too early? Yeah. No, sixth grade is not too early. If it's before sixth grade, that's when I'd start to it's really important that the students are like personally very, very engaged and interested. But I think sixth grade and above works pretty well. And we'll depending on how many students we have, we'll try to divide it up as much as possible by age and experience so that everyone kind of isn't like too far apart from the people they're working with and debating against. I'm assuming, do you have public is it PF as in public forum? So the format of debate I will be teaching is somewhat similar to public forum. It's more of a generic format of debate called classic debate format. So it has a lot in common with both public forum and policy as well, but it has a few differences, which we can talk about, we can work through. I do think if your student is already very involved in public forum, you might find it a bit jarring, but I think the format is pretty similar, that there isn't any major differences. So learning this is pretty useful for public forum. Is any follow-up sessions in the spring after the debate classes in winter break? So the classes in winter break will stand by themselves. I personally always have a policy, like if you have any questions, any sort of like feedback, you need me to check something, read through something, whatever, just send it over and I'll try to do my best to help on that. Like I want this to be like, not just a one and done, like try to help you guys out, especially when it comes to like questions about like, school and colleges and all those kind of things. I want to be a resource on that. So that's kind of what, it's not like I don't have any like explicit sessions, but that's usually how I like to follow up with students.
I guess maybe they mean about like the weekly classes. Like right now you are teaching a debate class, right?
Oh yeah, there are separate classes. There probably will be a separate class in debate in the spring or in the summer next year. It won't be like directly connected to the winter one, but yeah, there will be ones then. And usually if students have done a previous version, I have like smaller groups that have a bit more experience. They can join those. So it'll be, and usually there's new topics every time. So it's a different debate topic.
Yeah, he must have been like offering weekly classes since the spring, right? Yeah, he already offered it a couple of times. There's one currently ongoing weekly. I guess you answered the last question and then we'll move to the next session.
Yeah, so is there any debate contests you will help the students prepare for? So again, like this will be like preparing them for almost any normal form of debate. You can like, it'll be pretty useful preparation along those lines. Again, like I am trying to take a step back, focus on the general like life skills I want people to take out of debate. But that being said, they will still be trained in like the proper etiquette during debate, proper speaking procedures, and of course, a structure. They will do debate. They will do a structured debate. They will, go against each other with their case plans. They'll cross-examine each other, which is my favorite part of debate, rebuttals, all that sort of stuff. And that you're going to see in every format of debate. Now, we won't do some of the specific things that come up in like policy debate, like where you have counter plans and other specialty things. I think that that's not really helpful to delve too deep into those specialized things. This will be pretty useful for almost any major tournament competition type format though.
Okay, if there's more questions, we can wait until the Q&A session. So now we will move to our new class, this winter break, Introduction to Scientific Realization. I found this really exciting opportunities. We have been willing to offer this class for the past 2 years, and this is the first time we offered it. I think the class is open to anyone in the biology, biomedical field, not limited only to like high school students. We want to, if there will be college students or like a grad student, postdoc, researchers are all welcome to this class. So we'll have Mrs. Wu to introduce herself and also the class.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay,
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for being here. First of all, it's my honor to be here and also my first time. So as a first timer, I'm in awe of all the wonderful classes that you're offering here. But also I'm also very excited to show you my course, Introduction to Scientific Visualization. For short, I'm going to use Intro to SciVis, just so I don't make too many burps. Okay, so today I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to the course structure and also a little bit about myself. In this course, I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone a little better and hopefully open the door of science storytelling for all the students. Next slide, please. So this course is about all the curious minds, right? No matter which grade you are in and what education level and what background you're from, you can from science background, from art background, doesn't matter, as long as you're curious in this field and you want to be a good communicator in science. And that's all I ask for. We're gonna have a glimpse of what and how of SciVis, and also get hands-on with personalized project, because we don't know just yet how variable the levels of attending students will be. So this year we're gonna try to have a customized project for each one of you. So at the level you feel most comfortable with. And then from day 2 to day 4, also day 5, we're gonna have design and critique. So you're gonna learn how to critique on other people's work, not just your own, and learn to identify the good and the bad in a scientific visualization piece. Okay, next one, please. Next, we're gonna talk about the structure. Oh, okay, just so to clarify, because a lot of people would ask me about the actual content of the class, and this is something we will not cover, all right? First of all, is the research methods. We're not gonna teach you how to do your research, and you just do the research at your own level, and there will be some critique and feedback, but it's not the main focus. We will not focus on render technique. This is not a pure art class. You can learn the artistic techniques somewhere else. Also, this is not a software tutorial to solve all the technical problems in the software, because that will be for a longer duration course instead of a 5-day camp. And if you really do want to learn these things, especially the later two, I would recommend you go to the next slide and take a look at these classes that I'm offering with several other medical illustrators. So first one is the medical illustration with Procreate and Sci software. The other one is biomedical illustration with Adobe Illustrator. Those classes are offered in Mandarin Chinese, and it will be mainly geared towards students in China. And feel free to take a screenshot or use your phone to take a picture. Yeah, and ask me any questions about these classes. You can have 2 free lessons on those 2 courses. Each one of them have 2 free sessions you can view to get a feel of what the class look like. And that's for another day's topic. So today we only focus on the Intro to SciVis class. Okay, we can continue. This is the curriculum. On day 1, there will be lecture and demonstration, and then the students will decide on their own topics. And then on day 2 and day 4, each day will have lecture and demonstration on each of the steps, and then have critique both from the teachers, from the teacher and from the students. And then on the final day, we're going to have a presentation and have a summary of the class. So we will not only be focusing on the workflow, but also a little bit touch on the business side, how you will work in the real world setting with your clients, or sometimes the clients may also be your audience. Sometimes they're different, and we'll talk about that. So in the process of this, this project, you will also be creating what's called a creative brief in the beginning. And then at the end, it just depends on how the class is going. Maybe we will also learn how to create an invoice and learn how to charge your client for the artwork. Okay. Next one, please. So for the personalized projects, it's to better suit the each student's need. We're gonna have you to pick one block from each of the color sessions. So you're gonna pick your audience and then pick your topic and pick a format and also the media you want to use. Whichever fits you best, you can pick those. Because we only have 5 days, which is very short, we'll need to choose what works best for you and what the tools that you already feel very comfortable with. Okay, I think we can go to next slide to see the goals of this class. By the end of the class, I'm hoping the students will begin to think like a science communicator and be able to recognize a good scientific visualization and know why. Also be able to find tools and resources for their own projects, which is pretty straightforward. Not gonna explain much more, but feel free to ask me questions in the chat. Okay, and then finally, just a little bit about myself. Yeah, this is a graduation photo that I took for my grad school. We only have 6 students in the class, which makes us very close, like brothers and sisters. And the one in the middle on our knees, that's our director. So I graduated from Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, medical and biological illustration major. And then if you go to next slide, you can see a little bit example of our work. This is the poster for our graduation show. And then after graduation, I started working as an in-house medical illustrator for Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. And then for almost 7 years. And then after that, I started working on my own studio, genetics.com, which is not listed here, but you can see that in the intro on AOS posts. If you could go to the next slide, that's a picture of an image of a MSK hospital. And then the next one is a photo of all the medical illustrators in our department. In the next slide, yeah. So, yeah, we have a very fun job. So feel free to ask me anything about medical illustration and also scientific visualization.
So thanks for everyone for the cool introduction. And for the students and parents, do you have any questions? You can type in the chat or open your mic for any of the class. Dr. Meng is not here anymore. If you do still have questions for Dr. Meng, I will have to get the question and try to get back to you. But for any other 3 class, I think this question is for the scientific visualization class.
Okay, so personally, I use mostly Adobe products, Photoshop, Illustrator, but recently I've also been using some new software such as Blender, Affinity Designer, or Clip Studio Pro. But no matter what kind of software you use, the software, they're always updating, always, having new ones coming out. No, you don't need to get anything. The most important thing is not about the software. If you have color pencil or even just a regular graphite pencil, you're good. Pencil, paper, eraser, you'll be good. Yeah, maybe sometimes a ruler, or you can even make really stunning illustrations in PowerPoint. Yeah, believe it or not. PowerPoint is getting really good, really powerful. And also it doesn't have to be an illustration. It could be infographics, such as what the kind of charts or graphs that you will be using in a presentation slide. We can also work on that. So choose the topic that's most relevant to you, or you feel most drawn to, and then we can work on those together.
Any other questions for Dr. Yao and for Helmut?
Oh, similar class in English. So I'm hoping that this winter will be the start of that, will be the beginning of maybe hopefully a bigger series of classes or more advanced series of classes in English. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, we are looking forward for the opportunity. So the winter break class will be like the start, and hopefully in the spring, Mrs. Wu can offer like weekly classes, going more in depth of finish like a project. Okay, I guess let me see. Do I still have more slides? Okay, so my last slide. So if you still haven't registered for our winter camp, you can register at our website, rmc/academy.org for registration. And you can choose like one or more classes. Make sure you don't have to choose the class with time conflict. And we keep all of our communication using Canvas, and then all the materials will be posted in Canvas and kept for 1 year for the student to review later on. So
I see there's one question about the how to prepare for the math context. I think that's probably also relevant to other mathematical contexting, which is how you when you learn something as a realm and you spend lots of times on a particular subject, and there could be a period of time where you don't see your own capacity actually a significant improvement. I think there's an English word, is it called a taping point or something? Is called like a platform period. This would be quite natural in that kind of like your improving process, and especially I think during the mathematical Olympiad preparation. So this kind of things could happen maybe in the AMC level, or maybe in the AIME level, or maybe in higher level, depending on different people may have different experience. I think during this is a natural process, but during this process, you should not feel kind of like upset. And what you should even if your performance like this year's AMC score is about the same as the last year or even lower, but it doesn't mean that as long as you spend efforts and you do lots of problems, it doesn't mean that your capacity actually dropped. It's there's some luck involved in all the test, but during that process, I think the key thing is you always make sure each time you practice on the problems, you learn something out of it. and that is it's kind of like independent with the problem itself. Then as long as you build up some knowledge on that, then your capacity will be gradually improved, and finally you will see a kind of like a jump. So what do I mean independent with the problem is, for each problem, if you cannot solve it, you read the solution or you learn the solution from the teacher. You should not be satisfied with only knowing the solution itself. This part is not that important. The thing is, you should either know some kind of like build up some capacity on how you analyze similar type of problems, or you learn a particular knowledge point so that it can be applied to other problems. So gradually, as long as you build that, so you kind of like your toolbox have more and more tools, and then you have stronger and stronger capacities. And finally, one day you will see you kind of like you actually are really strong. Yeah, just one comment. Thank you.